Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Femitress, and in today's video, we'll be talking about the things to consider, things to prep for, and things to just note if you are traveling from the UK to the US. I'll also be talking about the differences I noted between the UK and the US during my travel. Now, I think this video applies to people who are also traveling to the US from other countries, but I specifically said the UK because I currently stay in the UK. The first thing you might want to consider is your passport expiry date, especially when traveling. Ensure your passport is valid for the entire duration of your stay. Context: I'm a Nigerian living in the UK and I have a green passport. On the US Embassy website, it says your passport must be valid for at least 6 months beyond your period of stay in the United States, unless exempt by country-specific agreements. So, you might want to check out if your country is exempt from this rule or not. Another thing you might want to consider or take note is the airport security in the US, especially the ones at the checkpoints. They can sound very brutal. Now, this is subjective and probably based on personal experience, but I thought the airport security was a bit more friendly in the UK as compared to the US. I felt like they were literally shouting and barking orders in the US, and if you were like slow or you didn't just get the instructions properly, they looked at you like you were dumb. Recently, they changed the rules and you are no longer required to remove your shoes when going through security. And that's great because that's one less thing to worry about when going through security. Okay, next thing is to be prepared to answer some questions from immigration on arrival, and be prepared for the long queue if you have a weak passport. But they were pretty chill questions anyway, and it didn't feel like an interrogation or anything. Questions like, why are you here, who are you visiting, and stuff. You also want to think about how you are going to be paying for transactions when you are in the US. Does your UK credit or debit card work abroad? And what extra fees would you be paying for if that's your means of transaction? Or would you consider PayPal or just rather carry cash? I think no matter the option you choose, it wouldn't hurt to carry a small amount of cash anyway. You never know where your card might not be accepted. Or, if you're staying with a friend or family member who lives in the US, they could pay for your transactions and you could transfer the money later to them via PayPal or your UK bank, which was how I survived on my own trip. Another thing you might want to prep for is what would be your means of communication and source of internet in the US. Do you want to use your UK SIM card and incur roaming fees? Or would you rather get a US SIM card if you are visiting someone and you're going to be staying with that person throughout the course of your stay in the US? You could consider being Wi-Fi dependent like I did. I stayed with my cousin throughout the course of my stay in the US and just literally depended on our Wi-Fi. I didn't get a SIM card at all and that worked for me. But also that meant I was stuck to her at all times and I tried my best not to get lost. And also there will be free Wi-Fi in hotels, cafes, restaurants and the airport. The US has extreme weather variations in different cities, so you might want to check the forecast for your destination. Check what season you are going to be traveling in and pack appropriate clothing, because their hot is hot and their cold is cold, and their weather doesn't get confused or moody like that of the UK. So the light switches and sockets in the UK differ from those in the USA. Like our sockets have the on and off switch, while the US outlets don't have the on and off switch. And the chargers in the US are different, so you will want to get a travel adapter for your chargers. We all know that medical care in the US is expensive, so having travel insurance with health coverage is essential, especially if you're going to be there for a long time, like a month or more. If you're going to be traveling for a short while, like 2 weeks, I would say you might not need travel insurance and might get away with it. However, make sure you pack your essential medications with you and backup. For example, make sure you're packing your insulin, antihypertensives, inhalers, and so on. I was told that many public places like museums, stadiums, and the rest require bag checks, and some don't allow large bags to be carried in because of the possibility of a gun being brought in. So check where you're going and carry the appropriate bags. Don't count on the public transportation in the USA, especially in small towns. The USA is very car dependent, especially outside major cities. Public transport is limited in many areas. You have to think on how you plan to get around during your stay. Big cities like New York, Chicago, and Washington have good public transport, but many places require you to have a car. Do you want to use Uber? Or you want to rent a car? And you have to take into consideration the driving differences between the US and the UK. In the US, they drive on the right-hand side. They have large roads and very wide highways, more lanes and more intersections. Would you be comfortable driving in that situation? And also consider the size of the US. Don't underestimate the size of the US because it's very big. That means places and states are far apart. Do you want to be driving that far on your vacation? If you are traveling between multiple states, think about how many hours you'll be driving for, and if you rather just take flights if you are visiting many states. When it comes to shopping, I think the US offers more options and varieties, so you could think of the stores not available in the UK and go shop from them as part of your to-do list for your vacation. But also consider sales tax. Now, when you see an item on the shelf in the US, the price on the shelf in the US does not include tax, so you can never know the true price of an item till you take it to the checkout point. So at all times, the final price at the checkout will be higher than the listed price, and sales tax differ in different states. Now, this is subjective, but in my experience, when it comes to customer service, people in the UK might come across as more polite and attentive as compared to the US. Maybe it's just because of the words of endearment being used in the UK. Like, it's not uncommon to hear words like darling, dear, love used everywhere in the UK as compared to the US. You might want to consider the tipping culture in the US. It's expected you tip waiters or people who attend to you, especially in sit-down restaurants, taxis, and other services. I was told you don't have to do it, but it's something that is expected of you. I've noticed also there were more drive-through restaurants in the US, and they have generally more dining options available. Important to take note of is the official age to drink alcohol in the US. You need to be 21 years to drink alcohol, and you need to show your ID. Even in restaurants or wherever, you have to show your ID. I definitely did not expect that. We all know American houses and rooms tend to be bigger with separate laundry rooms and garages. However, if you're going somewhere hot, don't worry, they have you covered. They always will have air conditioning or ceiling fans everywhere. The USA has 9 time zones. Some websites say 6, some say 9. However, just take notes if you are traveling across time zones. They also have different measuring systems. For example, the US uses Fahrenheit instead of Celsius. That's important if you are checking the weather. They use pounds instead of kilograms. Important when you are shopping. Other things I observed was that smoking was less common. I thought I would see more smoking in the US because it's a bigger population as compared to the UK. But interesting to know that I didn't, or maybe it's just because people drive more, so maybe they are smoking in their cars, but I think we might be smoking more in the UK as compared to the US. You see a lot of American flags than in the UK. They have their flags outside their homes, outside their businesses, everywhere. They can be very patriotic. Oh, and I saw a lot of billboards of lawyers, like a whole lot. Lawyers must be really making all that money in the USA. We've come to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and are now more prepared for your trip to the US. I have some vlogs of my USA trip if you're interested in watching. I'll link it up here, somewhere here or there. Thanks for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next video.